everybody. Welcome back to a special episode of, a little short special episode of the Universal Lens. I'm here with Anthony. Anthony brought up a good question. We go to the gym, we work out a lot together, so we talk a lot. And he had said that, he had questions about the show and about kind of what brought me here and what I've learned. And maybe it'd be a good idea to put a little interview together where he could ask me some questions and maybe we could give everybody some pointed answers.
Exactly.
So to speak, right? Give everybody an opportunity to kind of, instead of listening to a 60-minute episode, they can listen to a 20-minute one, shorter, and just ask some questions. So without further ado, I turn it over to my good friend and partner here, Anthony. Take it away, bud.
Thank you. I figured if I had some questions, and I'm around you all the time, odds are somebody else might ask me questions. So here's the first question I have for you, John. Can you briefly describe what brought you to studying acceptance, commitment therapy, and mindfulness? What brought you to that point?
It was a culmination of different things, but the ultimate one was probably my experience with obsessive-compulsive disorder, which was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for me. So it was that episode of dealing with that, navigating that kind of opened the door to ACT for me through therapy. And then that kind of evolved and just has kept evolving since then. So, in basic, it was me dealing with the anxiety and the OCD. That kind of brought me there.
Yeah, that was during a time John and I weren't in touch as much because we were in the middle of our careers, but it was crippling for him from what he says. And
yeah, not fun.
Not fun. So can you explain exactly what is acceptance commitment therapy? Like, what does it entail? Which is basically a lot of the show. What is acceptance commitment therapy? What are you trying to teach the people?
So without going into a half-hour
brief,
monologue about it. So acceptance, it's called acceptance for commitment therapy. Basically what it is, it's a form of therapy that I believe, and from what I've spoken about with therapists, it's kind of modeled after Eastern spiritual mindfulness kind of thinking, right? The kind of that like oneness, that presence,
like that. Okay.
Based in acceptance, right? So basically it's a scientific version of that. And it's not the same. It's the same thing, but it acts differently. ACT teaches you how to accept whatever you're dealing with, not just a thought. Could be a physical pain, could be a real life situation, and to make committed choices towards your values. So when you're dealing with something, you tend to follow the emotion and not the intelligent, valued decision that's staring you in the face. We tend to follow the emotion. The emotion is sad. We act sad. We play the sad role. We're angry. We act angry. We're anxious. We act anxious. We play the anxious role. This teaches you how to see the anxious feeling, the angry feeling, whatever it is, and say, but that's not what I want to do. So I always use the example. If you weren't anxious right now, would you be doing this? And the answer I usually get from somebody is yes. So then what's stopping you from doing it? A thought, a feeling, nothing else. There's actually nothing holding you back. Physically from doing it. And that's where it teaches you how to cross over from the acceptance part to the I'm going to take a committed action. Then to go deeper into it, there's different things like expansion, which they talk about, which is just different kind of rules or little, what's the word I'm looking for? Pointers that they have in there to kind of teach you how to work on the acceptance part of it, right? So, I could go deeper into it, but I don't know how much.
Is it related by any chance, and this is just a question off the top of my head, is it related to, for any kind of drastic situation that you might have been involved in where acceptance is usually the final stage of the process? Does it have anything to do with that? I'm just out of curiosity.
So it's funny you ask that. A lot of people have said that. Well, acceptance is the final stage. You go through all these different things.
What is it? Final stage is that grief though? Is that
that's how I was going to go? I was going with that.
I had it wrong.
But I was going with that. But here's the beauty of it: acceptance is the first stage. Once you understand it, it becomes the first step.
Nice.
You accept that it's happening, truly accept that it's happening. And then you start to diffuse from those thoughts, diffuse from that situation mentally, and you start making choices based on the things that you want to do in life. Like there's an example Dr. Harris gives in, Dr. Russ Harris gives in his book, The Happiness Trap, where he says there was somebody who lost her husband and kids, devastated in a car accident.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't wake up and acceptance is there and you find the next day, but she was a client of his. He's a therapist. And over a little bit of time, she slowly started making value choices, even though that pain was still there. But she started living a valued life. Valued means meaningful life.
Do you think hiding from the pain prolongs it?
Absolutely. You could face the pain.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You could face something. Acceptance is not, when you accept on something, you're not repressing it. A big difference. People think acceptance is like, oh yeah, okay, it's not happening. No, it is happening. I feel it. I understand it. I know it. But I choose to live my life the way I want to. In that choosing to live the way you want to live, even if there is a void or a pain or something that you're dealing with, there's meaning in that. You're making meaningful choices. So you're actually doing the things you want to do, not expecting it to feel a certain way, because at this point in time, something has happened in your life that joy, that happy feeling is just not going to bubble up. It's not going to happen, right? You lose somebody.
Sure.
It's hard to wake up the next day and be happy. It's just the way the human body works. But you can make value choices and do meaningful things. And in time, like they say, time heals all. In time, yes. With expansion and diffusion, those feelings start to subside and you really start to be able to enjoy other things on a different level. But in the meantime, you're not stuck in a corner on pause. You're not paralyzed. And you're not on pause. So you get to live your life, which is great.
Gotcha. All right. Well, how long did it take you to, everybody's different, but how long did it take you personally to feel like you had a real handle on your OCD using the acceptance for commitment therapy?
That's tricky. I would say it probably took about 6 months for me to get a really good foothold and understanding.
And now you were studying it. You
were
going
books.
to therapy.
I was going to therapy.
Yeah,
started out twice a week.
You were probably in the accelerated program.
In the beginning, I was going twice a week for 2 months, and then we toned it down to once a week. And then as time went on, and went, the therapy sessions became twice a month, once every 2 months, and all on my decision. And then, but I probably say 6 months it took before. Not that I understood it. I understood it right away, but before it became it became
routine.
A routine. It became where it would an automatic. Like my response would now be routine. Automatic. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It became part of your daily thoughts, your daily routine.
That awareness became a little bit stronger. It took it, but I was also coming from a place where I was really in a hole. So if you teach somebody who's really not struggling with anything, acceptance, commitment therapy, or ACT, mindfulness, or any of the stuff that we talk about, it'll probably grab quicker. Well, maybe not, because a lot of times I'll say when you're actually in pain and when you're hurting is when you're most open to accepting a new way of looking at life.
Oh, man, you're grasping at straws. You find something that works. You will hold on to that.
So I say about 6 months, and then from there it just kind of amplifies.
All right. So how do you think it's changed your life for the better? Obviously for the better, but has it changed it for, worse in any kind of way?
And I kind of know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, because I can think of a few, that you've told me personally, and
better. I mean, better. Yes.
Well, better, of course. The fact that you're able to function in society.
Well, yes, that's one, right?
Yeah, you're back into this.
Absolutely true. But beyond that, better because it's just changed my whole perspective on life. Mm-hmm. Not just the intrusive thoughts anymore. It's gone way it left that in the dust, and it's applicable to everything in life. So from there, it's great, better, the best, awesome. It's a great way to live your life, and it's a great application to put to life.
What do you think about worse? Give me the worst.
And so I'm not going to say worse, but there is a downside. There is a downside, and here's the downside. And it's really not a downside, but if you're going to look at it, if you're going to find the negative,
you can't even get with your own words.
No, if you're going to find because sometimes I hear myself say a word, I'm like, no, that's not right. The negative, if I had to choose one, would be it works so well, people don't understand you sometimes.
Understood. And people will tend to walk away from you if you don't understand how you are. Because
if they're still very attached and identified with their thoughts in their mind, they won't understand that you're not, and they can't comprehend why you're not. And they start creating stories to why you're the way you are. Now, you think you're better than us? Well, none of that is true. It's just I'm looking through a different lens of life.
I get it. But, any kind of method, as long as it's, a good method to help yourself and feel better, you should be happy for that loved one. I mean, really, that's how I look at
yes,
it.
but
You're obviously in a better place.
Yeah, but this is
mentally.
something where it's not just, well, you do, and they are happy that you're doing better, but then they expect you to be like the old version of yourself.
Yeah, well, they have to accept that things have changed.
Hold on a second.
Sure.
Well, John, you don't think like that anymore. I'm like, well, that's, if you really think about it, no, and I can let that go, and that doesn't piss you off, and no, why would I want to give somebody my peace? Why would I want to surrender that to somebody? That's for me to give away. Yeah.
So now, what made you? Obviously, years down the road, you've got a good handle on this. You're studying it. You've flown places to, see people and do sessions and so on. What made you want to write a book about your life, let people in on your struggle, and what made you want to do the podcast and, with Henry and then, me later on?
The beauty of finding something in life. When I was younger, I always thought, wow, this is great. This is mine. I've obtained this. As I've gone through this, I realized the beauty of discovering something that really works in life and that really unlocks doors for living a valued, better, just joyous life. It's not for me to hold on to, but it's for me to share. Like it's that old adage, I climb to the top of the mountain. I'm not going to sit there. I'm going to throw a rope down, actually. Sure. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to throw a rope and go, now join me up here. Right?
Okay.
And I'm not saying I'm at like the peak or something, but I'm saying,
the
work I've done is, yes, that's in short.
Yes.
Yes, it's to offer an olive branch to people to be like, this works. Here's my story.
Let me build off of that.
Yeah.
That was good.
Sure.
You want to let others know that this works. Why do you think that you are at the top of a mountain? Why do you feel you've reached that? And now you can show other people how to get there on their own. Why
do I feel like I've reached?
Well,
like I said before,
you use the analogy of throwing the rope down. So
yeah.
you feel like you've hit a different lens. You're looking at things differently.
Yes,
so
correct.
Why do you feel that you want to pull people aboard and go, hey, look at this? It's been working for me. Why do you think the rest of the world needs to know about this? I mean, you and I have had discussions over this, but tell everybody why you think
because it'll help.
Kind of mindset will help other people.
It'll simply help cure the problem of people believing everything they think. It'll help cure the problem of having an ego-driven world. It'll help cure the issue of having people believe thoughts when they want to do harm onto somebody. I
was just going to say, suicide's a big one where you convince yourself
could be
things that are not true.
It could be a suicidal thought, and that's an OCD.
Yeah,
that's a version of OCD. No, but that's a version of OCD where people have suicidal thoughts and it scares them because they don't want to do it, but their mind gives them these images of them killing themselves.
Yeah, but maybe what I'm trying to say is maybe it's not a suicidal thought. Maybe it's something minor like you're a lowlife, and you keep on convincing yourself.
So it's a non-OCD thing.
You lose, respect for yourself, and then it goes down that rabbit hole.
You believe the negative banter in your mind.
Exactly.
This helps cure you from this. This frees you from the grips of the thoughts in your mind, which can be overinflating or underinflating. It allows you to choose what works best in this moment for you in your life from a centered position, not from my mind said it, so it must be true. No, my mind tells me shit every day. 90% of it's garbage.
Exactly.
Garbage. So I walk around in silence a lot of times because I'm like, no. That's a thought that's I could work off of. Something positive comes from it. Something positive could come from it. So
I think I'd be honest with you. That final answer, I think, summed it up. Summed it up for me. Hopefully cleared things up for others.
Yeah. No, listen, it's a great way to live life. Put it that way. And that's, like the book, the podcast, it's all a culmination of, I didn't invent the wheel. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I'm trying to show everybody, look, this wheel works. This wheel is a great way to live life. And it's not something to believe in. It's not a belief system. It's an applicable way to navigate our mind, which has evolved from what it was eons ago to what it is today, and we're not equipped to deal with the way our minds work today.
You're a walking example, John, of how it could be, so useful in your daily life because, I see you use it all the time. I see how you slow things down in your brain. Sometimes it's It could be quite annoying, but in reality, that's what it is. But it works for him, and he's a better person for it. And I can tell you, because I've known the guy a long time, he's changed a lot of his ways and his thinking and everything. And he seems like a much happier human being for it. So there's got to be, a little something to this, and it can't hurt to look into it and study it. Why not? Look at these Buddhist monks. There's a reason why they live to be 100 and they're peaceful and they're happy their whole lives. There's got to be an answer to it,
Here's the beauty. This gives you the option where if you say, I don't want to go live in a Zen monastery, because that's not for everybody either, right?
Yeah.
People make that choice because it's appealing
lifestyle.
to them. Yeah. This teaches you that without going there, without having to go. This show is based on teaching you that.
Yep.
I've worked with spiritual teachers who've been in Zen, monasteries for 14 years, and they came home and they're teaching people, and they're like, you don't have to do what I did. You don't have to go to a Zen monastery.
I'm bringing it to you.
We're bringing it to you because it's that applicable to everyday life.
It is.
Before, that's how they thought about it. The Zen Buddhist monks was like, come here and you learn over time. But what we've evolved, what we've learned as we've practiced it more and more is we could teach it. That's why ACT is great. We could teach you how they see things in a certain way, right? Because Zen Buddhist monks are also, they go deeper into the spirit and the mind, which is where this took me. But that is a great appetizer for it. So if you learn ACT, it's like having the appetizer. Now, if you're ready for the main course, you can go deeper with it. You can go deeper into yourself and really learn to disidentify with your mind and your personality.
Yeah, but that's up to the individual.
It's up to the individual. Some people want to use it as a tool, and that's fine.
I got to be honest with you. I enjoy using it as a tool. I really do. That's how I look at it. I look at it as a tool. For John, it's a way of life, and I think it's useful for both of us. And just
it's useful for everybody.
That's it, But it's different levels of use. So
not everybody is meant to be an Eckhart Tolle or a Sadhguru or Ram Dass.
Take the lessons that work for you. Sure.
Yeah, it's not everybody's meant to be that. Yeah. It's not for everybody's calling, but people are meant to, find their own path. But whatever path you're on, this works. And if you want to go deeper like I did, that's great, right? That's why some of our conversations get a little deep with that.
I appreciate you answering these questions, John. I mean, for me, it was worth it.
Hope it helped.
Hope it helped everybody else.
Yeah. I hope you guys got a little bit out of it, and the next episode will be coming up in a few minutes. So, see ya. The insights and discussions that we speak about on our show are our own opinions and based on our life experiences. If you or someone in your family or someone you know is suffering and in need of help, please get them that help through medical attention or seeking proper therapy. Again, what we speak about are based on our experiences and not intended to be taken as a form of therapy. Thank you.